All right, everybody, Merry Christmas. God bless you. I hope you had a great Christmas day and are continuing to have a lot of fun this week and all that kind of thing. We did over at the Robles house, and I'll spare you all the details about everything that we did, but we're having a great time, and so I hope you are as well. I just wanted to do another video before the end of the year. Maybe we'll do one more. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. We'll see how it goes. But I wanted to just talk about the Right Response Conference that is coming up in April of 2025, April 3rd through the 5th in Temple, Texas, the Right Response Conference. Now, I'm not much of a conference kind of guy, you know what I mean? I go to conferences that I speak at, or if I'm part of the network, like I've been to a few of the Fight, Laugh, Feast conferences and stuff like that. I didn't go this last year, but, I go to those because I'm, kind of part of that network and all that kind of thing. But not really so much of a conference guy. But I will say this, that I'll only speak at a conference that I would attend myself. And that's going to require certain things to be present. Now, this past spring, I was at the Shepherd's Crook Men's Intensive, which was sort of like a conference. From what I understand, Andrew Isker is going to be the main guy at that one this coming year, which is a great time. You just a lot of hanging out, a lot of just regular talking. No green rooms or anything like that. You're just out in the wilderness doing a float trip and all this kind of thing. It's just fantastic. So that was a lot of fun. And so I'd attend something like that. I go to John Harris's conference. I speak at that. And again, that's another kind of conference that I would attend myself, even if I wasn't speaking, because there's a lot of free time. There's a lot of time to just talk, and there's no green rooms. You can go fishing. You can go hiking. You can do normal stuff that's really fun that people like to do. But besides that, I'm not much of a conference kind of guy. I just never really have been. But if you are a conference kind of guy, I totally understand. But I think that this conference in particular, Christ is King, How to Defeat Trash World. This conference, I believe, is something you should consider going to, because there's a couple things that are in play here. Number one, it'll be a conference where you'll have a lot of opportunity to network with people. You know what I mean? A.D. Robles. I don't know if there's going to be a green room at this conference or not. Maybe because there's some bigger names. Whatever. I don't know. But I would imagine that the people at this conference are going to be walking around, just able to hang out and talk to you and all this kind of thing. Regular people, very approachable, all this kind of thing. A.D. Robles isn't going to be hanging out in the green room, I'll tell you that much. But number two, this is a conference that I think has something to offer, right? Because, for decades and for years, we do these conferences, and it really, to me, it seems like many of them are very much geared towards people that are in ministry. And when I say in ministry, I don't mean the definition that, like, we're all theologians, not like that. Not like we're all in ministry. I'm not talking about that. That's a different kind of thing. And, of course, I get what people are saying when they say we're all in ministry. But in what I'm talking about is people that's their vocation, right? They're pastors, right? And they're studying like pastors and things like that. And you'll get presentations that are really geared towards that kind of thing, where it's all about theology proper. It's all about systematic theology. And oftentimes they'll even have that as a theme. This year it's about the 5 solas, and next year it's about the 5 solas. And it's just consistently getting the same stuff over and over and over again. And I don't really have a problem with that. If that's what they like to do with their time, you know what I mean? Totally fine. You know what I mean? You didn't go to seminary, or maybe you did go to seminary, but you just love nerding out on theology all day long, every day. You're the kind of person that gets, Turretin's books for Christmas, stuff like that. Like, if that's how you like spending your time, I'm not knocking you, but I just got to say that's just not what I do. That's not how I spend my time, right? My life is, it's much more practical than that. And I think that there's a place for studying theology. Mostly it's with the pastorate. Let's just be honest. The pastors are the ones that should be doing the lion's share of the studying. But, for regular people, there's a place for studying theology as well. Of course, I need to know a certain baseline of theology in order to teach my children and stuff like that. We all get that, right? But, 90% of life isn't systematic theology, right? 90% of life isn't these deep studies and things like that. 90% of life is just regular. You know what I mean? You're doing regular things. You're engaging in regular ways. You encounter regular problems and things like that. And this conference, Christ is King, How to Defeat Trash World, is about the practicality of all of this, how to put this into practice, right? How to confront things in your everyday life without saying, well, the answer is prayer. The answer is the gospel. The answer is theology, understanding God. That's the answer. And it's like, we get it, on a fundamental level. Yes, of course. You need to know who God is and what he's like, and because you're made in the image of God, and you should be acting the way God would act. You should be able to think through things the way God would think through things. Like, you should be able to do that. And of course, you're going to need to study theology for that. You're going to need to be in prayer for that. All of these things are wonderful things. Reading your Bible, they're wonderful things, right? But still, there's a lot more to your life, right? Like, if all you did was pray about your problems and you didn't do anything, you'd be in a tough spot, right? I'm not saying that prayer has no value. Of course, it has value, but you also have to be out there doing stuff. You have to. That's part of life. We were saved unto good works. What are the good works? Well, we need to talk about that a lot more, because it's not enough to just say, well, the good works are the 10 commandments. Well, okay, great. But okay, I've got situations in my life. There's always with the scenarios. A.D. Robles, he's always with the scenarios. I've got scenarios in my life, and sometimes they're complex. Sometimes they're specific and not quite as easy to know sometimes how to apply the 10 commandments to any given situation. Now, the 10 commandments are simple, but in our complex lives, they can be difficult sometimes to discern what it is that we should be doing. And this conference is all about that kind of thing. How to defeat trash world. Yes, we should be praying. Yes, we should be going to church. Yes, we should understand the gospel, preaching it to ourselves, and all of that kind of thing. But 90% of my life, I'm doing all kinds of different things. And I encounter trash world every step of the way, right? There's all this fake stuff out there. There's all these gay things out there. And I want to know how to defeat them in my everyday life. A lot of this stuff, guys, this is stuff that needs to be put into practice, it's a slow burn in many ways. How do I do it? And here's the thing. I don't know every single person very well that's in this conference. Not every single one of them, but the ones I do know, which is, I don't know, let's call it 7, 8 people. These people are ultimately practical, ultimately, level-headed and reasonable and willing to engage trash world in the ways that we have to do it. Absolutely. Of course, Christ is the foundation. Christ is king. That's the whole point of this, right? Well, as king, Christ has edicts. Christ has commands. Christ has battles that he is going to win. And he chooses to use us, his subjects, his friends, his people. He chooses to use us in order to accomplish these victories. And so we need to be on point. We need to be ready to go in the areas that he has us. We're all strategically placed in certain geographies. We're all strategically placed in certain families with certain skill sets and certain companies and all of this stuff. And we've got work that we can do right now. We don't have to move across the world to do work. We don't have to change our entire vocation to do work. We don't have to become essentially mini pastors to do our work. We don't need that. We can do our work where God has strategically chosen to place us right now. Wherever you're at right now, God has work for you to do, and we can do it. And we can do it in prayer. We can do it, with the faith that God is going to get results from our efforts, no matter how small, no matter how big, no matter how epic, no matter how tiny. God's going to get results when we work in faith for him and his kingdom. It's as simple as that. And every single person in this conference is keenly aware of this kind of thing and the dangers that we face, and has insight into how to confront them, how to counter them, how to fight against them. So this is the kind of conference that I would go to because it's going to be very practical, and it's not going to require you to pretend to be a pastor when you're not, to pretend to study like a pastor when you're not. It's going to be usable for any person regardless of what they do. Look, some of the people at this conference speaking, they are pastors, and some of them have been pastors for a long time. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But also, a lot of these people have other jobs too. Many people in this lineup have started businesses, myself included. Many people in this lineup have dealt on in a practical way with all kinds of issues that we face in day-to-day life, including myself. And these people here, I mean, there's a lot of knowledge here. There's no question about it. There's a lot of academic knowledge, especially Stephen Wolf in the middle. He's an academic sort of egghead type. But all the academics here, these are people that you can talk to. You know what I mean? You can communicate with without having to have the footnote of a certain book memorized in your head, right? It's as simple as that. So this is, if you want straightforward communication, easy to understand, even from some academics. Sure, we get it. We all love the eggheads. We get it. But I can talk to you like a regular person. This is the conference for you. Absolutely, 100%. I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. Look, this is no knock about these high theology type conferences and all of that kind of stuff. If that's your jam, go for it. Have fun. Knock yourself out at the next G3 conference. No problems here, right? I got no issue with it. But this is the conference for Christians who want to live normal lives for the Lord in a courageous and effective kind of a way. That's what this is, right? So we're not aiming, at least I'm not aiming for high theology, that kind of thing. There's plenty of opportunities out there for you. This is a conference for regular people. Look, if you're a pastor, you can come to this conference too. It's probably not going to be geared really towards you and your work specifically, and that's okay. That's okay. There's more to life than ministry. There just is. There's more to life than ministry. There are so many vocations out there, so much opportunity for everyone to get involved and to have impact for the kingdom of God. It's just absolutely necessary to have conferences like this one. In any case, that's what I wanted to say. This is going to be a lot of fun. It looks like we got a replacement here for Jeff Durbin, Pastor Jeff Durbin. And I got to say, I don't know a whole lot about Dr. Or is it Dr.? I don't know. Calvin Robinson, whatever. I don't know a whole lot about him, but I do know he's a spokesman for UKIP, which I'm a big fan of UKIP, and I've been that way for a long time, even since before I was on YouTube. UKIP is confronting trash world in the United Kingdom the same way many of us are confronting trash world in the United States. I've heard him talk a few times. He seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders, that's for sure. So I'm excited about that. A lot of people are saying this is a big upgrade from Pastor Jeff Durbin. I don't know. I don't know if it's not, but I will tell you this. We're not missing Pastor Jeff Durbin, that's for sure. We're not going to miss him because we've got another person who is at that level easily, no question. I'm not going to say he's an upgrade, but he's at that level to replace Pastor Jeff Durbin, and I could not be more excited about it. When I heard about it, I was like, first of all, I was like, Joel, why don't you tell me anything? Joel, why do I have to always be the last to know? That's the first thing I said. And then I said, Calvin Robinson, great idea. Great idea. I like it. I would have approved if he would have told me ahead of time. But he didn't. No, I'm okay with it. By the way, there's a discount for the conference that ends at the end of the year. Promo code Christmas. Get your tickets today. I will be there. And I promise you, if there's a green room, I will spend minimal time in the green room. I might go in there to get a snack or something. But that's about it. The rest of the time, I will be among the people. Because A.D. Robles is not only the most reasonable Latino that's ever existed, but he's a man of the people. He's a man of the people. Here's a little secret you might not know about A.D. Robles. A.D. Robles can be a little bit of a introvert. You know what I mean? I like spending my alone time alone. I like being alone. It's nothing wrong with being alone. But I also find a way to enjoy being around massive amount of people. I'll tell you what I'll feel. Here's how I'll feel right before this conference. You want a little bit of an insight into the psychosis of A.D. Robles? Here's how it is. I'm going to be dreading it. The week before, I'm going to be dreading going. I'm going to be like, man, I don't want to go. I'm going to be thinking, is there a way I can get out of this? I don't know. Can I? And then my wife's going to say, no, you can't. There's no way you can get out of it. You have to go. And I'm going to be like, yeah, you're right. My wife's very helpful with this because she understands how I work. And so I'm going to be dreading it, but she knows that I'm going to enjoy my time there. So I'm not a weirdo, you know what I mean? Well, at least I don't think I'm that weird. I'll talk to you, and I have no problem, so feel free to introduce yourself. I'm very friendly and all of that kind of thing. And I enjoy it. I enjoy being among the people and hanging out and talking about your lives and stuff like that. I enjoy it, but there's always this weird period of dread right before where I'm like, oh, I don't want to go. And then when I'm done with it, I'm like, man, I'm glad I went. So I've learned this about myself over time. So I don't try to get too wrapped into my dread beforehand. I expect it to be there. I expect my dread to be there. But then I always know. I always know I have a great time at this stuff. So don't feel bad about introducing yourself to me. Don't feel like, oh, he's going to be bothered. Because I know some people feel that way. Oh, I don't want to bother him. I'm not that kind of guy. I don't want to bother him. It's not a bother. I find it fun. I find it invigorating and all that kind of thing. And then when I'm done, when the conference is over, I'm glad to be alone. I'll tell you that. I enjoy my time. It takes a lot out of me, but, I'm enjoying it. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there. I can't wait. It's going to be like a family reunion for some of these guys. Joel, Andrew, John Harris, of course. I've had a great time getting to know them. I met David Reese as well. Very, very solid dude. I love what David Reese brings to the table in all of these conversations. He's got very extreme views, but he's very reasonable as well, which is a good combination because I like that kind of thing. I like that. A lot of these other guys I've never met, but I'm looking forward to. Oh, I've met Stephen Wolf too. I have to say that. I've met him. He's a great guy as well. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. And then a lot of these other guys I just know from online, and I love what they have to say. I love what they do, and I'm looking forward to meeting them. So maybe you'll be there too, and I look forward to meeting you there as well. This is the kind of conference that AD Robles would go to, even if I was not going to be speaking at the conference. So if that means anything to you, I look forward to seeing you there. God bless you. I hope you found this video helpful. God bless.